Hi guys, it's Thommo and welcome to this week's review of Arrow. I'm going to do things a little bit differently this week because I'm going to do a bit of a spoiler-filled review because Arrow is now on, I think it's a 3-week break, and I think this week there was a lot of pivotal moments that are really great talking points, and I said, I think it was last week or the week before, that I felt Arrow was losing it a little bit, but I think this is the kind of episode that really brings it back up to the level that we kind of expect it to be. And with so many twists and turns in this episode alone, it just posed really great things heading towards the back end of the series. Just to recap on the plot of this episode. So you had the revelation of the last episode where William was stolen by Damien Dark. He was being held captive, and the very fact that he's Oliver's son, Oliver had to reveal the secret to a few people last week, but Felicity still doesn't know. This week, she finally found out, and that is going to have a lot of ramifications in their impending marriage. And I think by the conclusion of the episode, let's start with that moment. The very fact that Felicity stood up was a massive, massive moment. Obviously, she's been in a wheelchair for a few weeks since Damien Dark's attack, and I think this could almost be a bit of a end of the road for the Felicity, maybe. The very fact that as soon as she stood out of the wheelchair, she walked away from Oliver, and is that a sign of her actually walking away from all the lies that he's told her and walking away from Team Arrow, possibly? I know a lot of fans have grown to love Olicity, but it's one of those moments where you kind of think, actually, could this really be the end? We've seen it a couple of times and they've got back together. And I think it's important to note how Laurel was feeling following the fact that she found out about Oliver's affair and the fact that he had a kid. And it was at the same time that her and Oliver together. And she got quite upset about that. Now, obviously, if you know about the comics, then you'll know that Black Canary and the Green Arrow end up together and get married. So I'm kind of thinking, is this the point at which the show twists it a little bit and starts to filter away the whole Oliver and Felicity relationship and moves on to the fact that actually Laurel still loves Oliver, and will those two get close again? It's certainly a possibility, and something I think if they're going to follow the route of the comics, then it really wouldn't surprise me in the next, probably not the next few episodes, but certainly maybe over half a season or so, if you are going to see Felicity slowly make her way out of the show, then it's the perfect opportunity. So that was a major talking point this week. Obviously, they've now, Team Arrow have found Damien Dark's weakness. I can't go without mentioning how brilliant a character Damien Dark is, and the performance from Neil McDonough. He is fantastic at Damien Dark. The whole dark humour around him, the very fact that he knows he's got Oliver in the palm of his hand and that he can do very little about it. But finally the tables turned this week, and I really like to see the fact that they brought Vixen into it, who was a brilliant character, and it added to that whole mystical and magical side of the show that it started to add. And it just has that little bit of extra spark. And Vixen, she's a brilliant character, and I was so glad to see her finally brought into the fray following the short animated series that they brought. So throwing her into the mix really added a bit of depth to the team as well. So, and the very fact that they added in mentions of Barry Allen as well. So I'm sure we're not far away from yet another team up, or the very fact that some of these characters are still going to be crossing over. Like we had Diggle this week appear in the episode of The Flash. We could have plenty more crossovers, and I think that's the magic of these shows. The very fact that they have combined, they have the power to use all these characters in so many different ways. And that's what keeps us interested. That's what keeps us truly engaged and excited to see what's next, really. Aside from that as well, you had Thea finally finding out exactly what Malcolm Merlin's been up to. The very fact that he's been working with Damien Dark. And that could take an interesting turn as well. The way in which John Barrowman's Malcolm is now resigned to the fact that his daughter hates him, but he still wants her alive. And it's going to be interesting the way that one pans out, because you always had Thea very wary of him. Is she going to completely go against him? And it wouldn't surprise me if at some point we get a showdown with the two of them. I know he said that he doesn't want her dead, etc., etc. But it would make for a brilliant scene if you could finally see Thea turning against her real father and a fight to the death. I think it would be a pinnacle point in her own storyline. So I wouldn't mind that happening. Whether it will, possibly not, but maybe I'm kind of dreaming this one up. But there's plenty of scope still there to see what happens. Maybe he'll even turn her and convince her that actually she should be following her father. Who knows? I mean, overall, this was one of my favourite episodes of the series so far. I think there was so much going on, but yet it felt so finely balanced with all these characters working together to fight off one man. The performance from Stephen Amell was exceptional this week. I think there were certain moments in the episode where he really excelled and showed what a brilliant actor he is. I think one of those moments came in his reveal to Felicity and the kind of heart-to-heart they had. And then towards the conclusion of the episode, that moment he was speaking to the laptop and recording the message for William, I thought that was a really great emotional moment. And to top it off, the whole talk with Felicity and almost the heartbreak of it really showed Stephen Amell was excelling as this character who is essentially made to lie to the people that he loves for a better cause, shall we say. I mean, he's been in so many tricky situations and you just can't help but think, what would you do in his situation? Even the flashbacks this week, he's kind of got himself in a bit of a rut and forced into this cave that's full of magic, and I think that actually helped the episode along a little bit, because I was certainly getting a bit tired of these flashbacks and whether they kind of felt as if they were almost a necessity. And this week it really drove it on, and the fact that actually there is a lot more intrigue in the fact that what is in that cave and what is he about to explore. So overall, it was a really, really good episode, and I think a 3-week break is going to be way too long, but boy, am I excited for what's going to happen next. So a bit of a longer review this week, guys, and a bit more spoilers, so I hope you enjoyed it and embraced a bit of a change. As always, it'll be brilliant to get your comments. It'll be even more amazing to get some likes. Make sure you subscribe to the channel, because there's going to be so much more content coming soon. And as always, until the next time, take care.